Hi, everybody. Well, as you can see, I am once again creatively finding a space to teach meditation in. And the birds are lovely and very loud. So I will probably mute myself while I'm not talking. So get settled in your cozy spot. And I say this each time, but for the newcomers or for people who need to hear it again, um, really make yourself comfortable. If you're having a day where your body is a little achy or sore, um, or you're tired, lay down, lay down and listen. And let yourself be cozy, let yourself be comfortable. It's that kind of a day. So get a nice blanket and make yourself at ease. It's the most easy way to drop in to the body. It's the most easy way to meditate when the body's comfortable. And for the first 15 years of meditating, I fought that, sat on the floor with my little zafu all the time. And now a lot of times I lie down and meditate. If I'm going to meditate for more than like 15 minutes, I will usually lie down. So there's a strong invitation to listen to your body and whatever it's needing today. On the other hand, if you're feeling super sleepy and you don't want to fall asleep, then, listen to that and sit up, but be comfortable, support your body in the way that it needs. All right. So eyes open or closed. Um, I think I introduced this last season, but there's a way that we can connect with one another, even though it's online, and that's by co-regulating with eye contact. And so the invitation is I'm going to look right at my camera. And so if you want to make eye contact with me, I welcome you. I obviously can't see you, but I'm imagining all these beautiful eyes. And the invitation is to look into my eyes and take deep breaths together in synchronicity, synchronized breaths. So, and the other invitation, again, you don't have to do this, but the other invitation is if you want to make a sound on the out breath, there's, I cannot cite the exact scientific studies, but there's some evidence that hearing each other's tone, hearing each other's sound, hearing your own sound blended with the sound, obviously it'll just be my sound. It allows for a mirroring and aligning, just like the eye contact and a co-regulation. So if I were super amped up right now, I wouldn't be inviting you to do this because you'd likely feel more amped up, but I feel very relaxed right now. And so there's an invitation that if there's any stress or anxiety or rush energy in you, you can take this invitation to co-regulate with me. So we're going to do 10 breaths together. And again, eyes open or closed, trust what feels, eye contact can feel intimate, even when you know I can't see you. So trust what resonates for you, trust what feels aligned today. We'll do 10 breaths. We're going to do deep breaths. So meaning we're going to use our diaphragm. And as you breathe in, the diaphragm is going to push out. So I'm going to show you on my own belly. And breathe in. You can see how I'm breathing in, my hand's pushing out. And as I'm breathing out, my hand is going back towards my spine. Now I'm going to do it with a sound, just so you can see what that's like. You can make your own sound, and then we'll do the 10 breaths together. Breathing in. Uh, so the sound can be mouth open or closed, um, whichever feels good for you. And you don't have to make a sound. All right, so breathing out fully and breathing in. Uh, if my cadence doesn't work for you of breath, just do your own. Uh, letting the face relax, letting the pelvic and butt muscles relax with every out breath. Uh, uh, mm. Try the next 5 out breaths with closed mouth and feel the hum in your body. Breathing in. Mm. Mm. Let your body melt with each out breath. Mm. 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 Allowing your eyes to close or gently softening the eyes and looking downward and just being with what you're noticing in this moment in your own being. Staying inwardly focused and beginning by bringing awareness to your physical body, seeing if you can notice sensations first on the surface of the body. So noticing pressure, where your body's touching the floor or furniture. Noticing temperature wherever, a sense of cool or warm, or a sense of temperature wherever in the body you're noticing that. And then imagining a zooming in process, starting with your feet, where first you notice the external qualities of your feet. So maybe you can feel the floor or your socks pressure, and then zooming into the feet, noticing any inner sensations in the feet. And then the invitation is simply at your own pace to move up the body in this way. You can do the body in chunks. So, like, first the feet, then the lower legs, then the knees, much slower than that, going at your own pace. And the invitation is to witness and notice the sensations of the body, whether they be pleasant, whether they're unpleasant or neutral, and to see if you can bring this intention of allowing or welcoming or just letting it be how it is. We spend a whole heck of a lot of time blocking out body sensations, wishing they were different, trying to make them different, judging them. So, this is a little experiment that I'm inviting you to take part in, where when you notice your mind judging or pushing away, see if you can notice the pushing away or the judgment, and just see if you can notice that, and then come back to the raw sensations of the body. Something that might help you do this is to imagine that you're breathing into this part of your body. And what I mean by that is literally using your own imagination to imagine the breath traveling in your nose or mouth and traveling through your body down into the feet, for example. And this can be particularly useful with aversive sensations, discomfort, or pain. And the idea is that we're breathing into an area of the body and imagining that the breath is opening up more space. It's giving more of a sense of awareness to whatever sensations are here, so that we don't feel completely wrapped up in the sensation. And you may notice that if you do have pain or discomfort or achiness, that you can breathe into a sensation and start to notice the nuances. Pain or discomfort is not a black box, it's actually an ever changing kaleidoscope of sensation. And if that doesn't feel accessible today and you're like, I don't want to do this, it's too hard, trust that. It's okay. Give yourself all the permission in the world to trust your own inner voice always. So I'm going to be quiet now for several minutes to allow for enough silence and spaciousness for you to move your awareness up the body. And the mind's going to pull you in different directions. And don't get too worried or hung up about that. Just notice when you get lost in story or thought, and just gently bring yourself back to the body. Again, witnessing, seeing if you can bring welcoming and allowing and breathing into these different parts of the body. Okay, we'll do this together for the next few minutes. Take your time. If you happen to notice a particularly challenging sensation or area of the body, one idea is to put one or both hands on that area of your body and then another hand on your heart. And imagine that you're sending this part of your body love as you breathe into it, as you soften into the sensation. If you've already traveled through your body from your feet to your crown of your head, then just open up your awareness to whatever sensations feel most alive in the body. And when I say alive, that doesn't mean the most painful. It just means what do you feel drawn to? And then experiment with staying with that sensation and watching as it morphs and changes. Again, bringing whatever comfort via a hand or via breathing in love or breathing in. If love feels uncomfortable for you, trusting that, maybe breathing in a sense of softness or nurturing, allowing. And for those of you that are visual, you might even imagine breathing in light or a sense of healing into a particular part of your body. Noticing a few breaths, breathing deeply into the abdomen. The next layer of your being that I want to encourage you to explore is the emotional layer, if that feels resonant today. And again, always trust your inner voice. If that feels too raw or too vulnerable today, stay with the breath, stay with the body. And if it feels on the edge of too vulnerable and it feels doable, then I'd encourage you to lean in and just try it, but always trust your inner voice. So, with emotions, you may have already noticed tuning into the body that really what we call emotions, most of you probably have already heard this, but they literally are sensations in the body that we've given names to. And the more we learn how to tune into the signs that our physical body is giving us, the more in tune we become naturally with our own emotions, because they are literally simply sensations in the body. So, as you were scanning your body, you may have noticed, for example, just as in, you might not have noticed this exact thing, but you may have noticed a tightness or a clenching in your heart space. And maybe you explored that and watched it shift and change Maybe it stayed very much the same. So that could be linked to an emotion, could be grief or sadness. And if you're up for this today, the invitation is to be with whatever emotions, however big or subtle they are, in the most kind and compassionate way that you can be. If compassion for yourself today is not accessible, I don't advise going deep into emotions, especially difficult ones, because if we bring a sense of harshness to our emotions, it can just be harmful, you know? I know all about that because I had a very, very powerful inner critic during the first 30 plus years of my life. So, if your inner critic is really up today, really being aware of that and just being in tune with allowing yourself to stay on the surface of an emotion if that's what's needed, to stay with the breath if that feels best for you today. And you may be surprised, most of us are pretty historically in this culture scared of emotions. But when you start to recognize that emotions are simply sensations in the body, and that you can actually watch sadness, you can drink in sadness. There was one teacher who described it as sipping in the sensation of sadness, drinking of sadness. And when I'm really struggling with something, I imagine that. I imagine that the attending to and the drinking in of the emotion is giving witness and presence to what's already here. We all know about staying busy to avoid emotions. Most of us do anyway, I sure do. We know about distracting. And none of those things are bad. We don't need to judge them. But there is this freedom that can come over time with starting to realize that when you can meet these emotional sensations in the body with a nurturing presence, there's nothing to run from anymore. And for me in my own practice, this is where I have continuously found more and more layers of freedom. So I'm here with you. Our community is here with you. And I invite you to explore your inner emotional world in the safety of your own space, but with the love and support of this community. Allowing and welcoming, if it's accessible, the feelings that are already in you. It's not like they're just popping up out of nowhere. They've been there. And if it feels challenging, try putting your hand on your heart or both hands or one hand on your belly. And just like we did with the body, when you start to notice a feeling or an emotion, imagining that you can literally breathe into the emotion if it has a location in the body. If you're not aware of the location in the body, then just imagining breathing into anger or breathing into sadness. Almost like you're an explorer, like an inner explorer, like, huh, what is this feeling? Ah, okay. So this is anger. And you might notice your mind ruminating about how it's right about an argument that you had recently, for example. And then see if you can, with as little judgment as possible, or at least witnessing the judgment, notice the story and invite yourself to drop the thoughts, drop the story for this moment, and breathe into the body sensation, emotion. And there may be a sense of numbness or neutrality. And again, everything is welcome. Okay. So there may be numbness, and that's okay. That's more than okay. Our bodies have their own wisdom, and you can lean into the wisdom of your being. And if numbness is here, that's what's here. If a lack of awareness of emotion is here, fine. Breathe with that. Welcome that. Allow that. So again, I'm going to mute myself and be quiet for several minutes, but know that I'm here with you. And if you feel overwhelmed, feel free to open your eyes, look around the room. You know, if that feels better in general as you explore your emotional world, please do that. And again, if it feels like too much today to explore your emotional world, then stay with the breath. It's all welcome. One last thing I wanted to name is there may be emotions like joy or ease or calm or happiness present as well. And there may be both. So we're complex beings. There may be grief and joy. There may be grief, joy, and anger. And as you explore the layers, that may become more apparent. And for those of you that this idea of the emotion being a sensation in the body, if that seems like a foreign concept, I just want to give you a couple of examples. Like when you feel your face get hot, that might be embarrassment or shame. Or when you feel a clenching in your jaw and a tightness in your chest, that might be anger or grief. A tightness in your throat may be fear or sadness. So it's a little different for each person, but yeah, explore whatever is here, inviting what's already present to be witnessed and held in this loving, nurturing space that we're co creating. Hmm. Now, for a very short amount of time, I invite you to zoom out even further to encompass your entire experience. So, witnessing thoughts, sensations, and emotions, bringing a sense of allowing to your entire experience today, including any judgments or wanting things to be different. That's also included. And then, if you're able to make sound in whatever space you're in, I'd invite you to join me in 3 ohms in a moment. And if you're not able to make sound or you don't want to, then just inwardly imagining the vibration of Om in your body, inwardly imagining the mantra and the vibration. And if you're making the sound, tuning into the literal vibration of the cells of your body as the sound reverberates through your being. So, breathing in, Om. 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 May the fruits of our practice that we have co created spread outwards in all directions, inwards and outwards, and help to end the suffering of all beings everywhere, including our own. And bow to each one of you for taking the time to go inward, to be with yourself in this way. This is how we wake up together. This is how we bring healing to the world, by first bringing more love, more acceptance, more compassion to ourselves. And then it just reverberates outwards. It's really good to be with you again. I'm so glad that our season of meditation has started again.